Hey everybody, it's VERSHAUN again, here with another video. And before I forget, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. It'll be appreciated. And even share it. And if you want to join and subscribe, yeah, hit that too. And we're going to talk about, I'm going to talk about our dietary and eating habits. What's wrong with it and what's right with it. I'll tell y'all a quick story. A few years ago, well, a little more than a few years ago, I had a family member before they passed on. I went back and forth. I'm originally from Durham, North Carolina, and I was living in another state. And a great aunt of mine, my Aunt Ethel, a very, very sweet woman, she allowed me to stay in her home, me and my son, while I visit my sick relative who was in the hospital. And I bought cereal and milk just to, so I wouldn't have to really cook, and because we were on the go, and it was quick. And so one morning I went downstairs and she was cooking salmon cakes. I love them. And my son was at the table. And I came down to fix him some cereal and milk. And these are her words. She said, "Don't be giving him cereal and milk every morning. Give that baby some real food." And all I could say was, "Yes, ma'am." And from then on that day, I never bought a box of cereal or a jug of milk ever again. After that, my son ate real food during the new day, afternoon, and evening. No more boxes, bags, bottles, or cans of poison. No more. But I'm head on and take care of this little information that I have, and we'll see what happens. We'll start with Leviticus chapter 26, 1 through 16, and it's all going to come together. The Most High is talking to the children of Israel. These are laws that he's given to Moses to present to the children of Israel. And again, we are the children of Jacob, whose name changed to Israel. So if you don't believe that and you don't understand that, then you probably won't understand my videos. And so this is the Most High speaking to Moses so he can give these laws to give to the children of Jacob, whose name changed to Israel. And Israel is a nation. The children of Israel that the scriptures are talking about is a nation. The Israelites, the Israelis who are over in what they call Israel, that is a state that was formed around World War I, the Balfour Agreement. But I'm not here to talk about that. But there's a difference between the Israeli state or the state of Israel and the nation of Israel. Those are two different things. And the state actually they are of European descent. It's even in history. But anyway, we're going to talk about our dietary habits in this world here. Leviticus chapter 26, 1 through 16. You shall not make idols for yourselves, no statues. We shouldn't be worshiping anything but the Most High. Neither a carved image. We have a lot of those here. I'm just speaking to where I grew up in America. I've traveled all over America. And there are statues of famous people. And you're not supposed to have statues. Even Exodus chapter 20, 1 through 3 tells us that. 1 through 17. You read the whole thing, 1 through 17. And within that, it tells us not to have any type of carved anything, any type of likeness of anything. Neither a carved image nor a sacred pillow shall you rear up for yourselves. Those are monuments. Sacred pillars are monuments. Nor shall you set up an engraved stone in your land. No engraving anything. Engraving is you write something or you draw something in stone or on paper. To bow down to it. For I am Yahuwah, your God. You shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am Yahuwah. If you walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and perform them, then I will give you rain in its season. The land shall yield its produce, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. Your threshing shall last till the time of vintage, and the vintage shall last till the time of sowing. You shall eat your bread to the full and dwell in your land safely. I will give peace in the land, and you shall lie down, and none will make you afraid. I will rid the land of evil beasts, and the sword will not go through your land. You will chase your enemies, and they shall fall by the sword before you. 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 of your enemies to flight. Your enemies shall fall by the sword before you. For I will look on you favorably and make you fruitful, multiply you, and confirm my covenant with you. You shall eat the old harvest and clear out the old because of the new. I will set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you. Excuse me. I will walk among you and be your God, and you shall be my people. I am the Most High, your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt. And in Exodus chapter 20, the Most High calls Egypt the house of bondage. And if you were, and if you do your research, real quick, if I'm just gonna say this real quick, your slave masters and everybody who ran America were Freemasons, and they owned slaves. And Freemasonry is the worship of Egyptian gods. And so, and when you boil it down in short, and so spiritually, America would be considered spiritual Egypt because of the gods that your leaders and your politicians and the people who are in charge, they serve these other gods from Egypt. Okay. I will walk among you and be your God, and you shall be my people. I am the Most High your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, the house of bondage, because it was slavery here and slavery over in Egypt, and as well as spiritual slavery. Well, we're about to get into it. That you should not be their slaves. I have broken the bands of your yoke and made you walk upright. But if you do not obey me and do not observe all these commandments, and if you desire my statutes, and if you despise my statutes, which are laws, commandments, or if your soul abhors my judgments, so that you do not perform all my commandments, but break my covenant, I also would do this to you. I will even appoint terror over you, wasting disease and fever, which shall consume the eyes and cause sorrow of the heart. And you shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat it. Now there's curses when you're not obedient. It's not about your will or my will. He says, do the will of your Father. It's not about anybody else's will. These are the statutes and judgments and laws which the Most High made between himself and the children of Israel on Mount Sinai by the hands of Moses. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 12 through 15. Then it shall come to pass, because you listen to these judgments and keep and do them, that the Most High your God will keep with you the covenant and the mercy which he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name got changed to Israel. And he will love you and bless you and multiply you. He will always bless the fruit of your womb. Your children will be blessed. And the fruit of your land, your grain and your new wine. It doesn't say that drinking is a sin. He says everything will be blessed, and your new wine and your oil. Oil is not bad, but it's what the farmers who sell to the government, who work for the government, it's what they're putting in the bottles of oils that are on the shelves that we have to be aware of. But not olive oil and other oil that comes natural. The increase of your cattle. So it says cattle. That's beef. Okay. And so we'll see. It's not in scripture where it says not to eat red meat or vegetables or to be a vegetarian only. We'll see. And the offspring of your flock in the land of which he, the Most High, swore to your fathers to give to you. You shall be blessed above all peoples. He's talking about the children of Israel. And whoever accepts their God. If you call yourself a Christian and you accept the God of the children of Israel, the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you accept their God, then these blessings will come upon you. You shall be blessed above all peoples. There shall not be a male or female barren among you or among your livestock. So that means we're supposed to have babies. We're not supposed to abort them. We're supposed to have them. That's a blessing, he says. Having them is a blessing, having children. And the Most High will take away from you all sickness and will afflict you with none of the terrible diseases of Egypt, which you have known, but will lay them on all those who hate you. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 9 through 22. The Most High will establish you as a holy people to himself, just as he has sworn to you, if you keep the commandments of the Most High your God and walk in his ways. Please keep his laws and walk in his ways, not your way, not your will or your way, not other people's wills or ways, not famous people, not their way, not the worldly way. Then all peoples of the earth shall see that you are called by the name of Yahuwah, or you can say Yud-Hav, Vav-Hav, and they shall be afraid of you. And the Most High will grant you plenty of good in the fruit of your body. Your children will be blessed. In the increase of your livestock, and in the produce of your ground, in the land of which the Most High swore to your fathers to give you. The Most High will open to you his good treasure, the heavens, to give the rain to your land in its season, and to bless all the work of your hand. You shall lend to many nations, but you shall not borrow. And the Most High will make you the head and not the tail. So that's not talking about an individual. That's not talking about you individually, how they do in these churches when people stand up and do testimonies and, hey, he gonna make me and I'm not gonna be the. He's talking about if a nation of people obey him, then as a whole, not individually, because you have those who got money, but I'm saying as a whole, as a nation, you will not be the tail. People won't be putting you as third-class citizens in America. And you're still living in most of us still live in projects and in the hood, we call it, in poverty. Most still do that. There are churches everywhere, like a neighborhood store on every corner. And we're getting worse as a people in our community. Killings are even more now. And we're killing each other and bragging about it on social media. It's a badge of honor to kill your own so-called black people. And then we have YouTube channels where people brag about, they call them receipts, to where they brag about how many bodies they killed back in the day. You're bragging about killing your own people. Okay. You shall be above only and not be beneath. If you heed the commandments of the Most High, your God, which I command you today, and are careful to observe them So you shall not turn aside from any of the words which I command you this day, to the right or the left, to go after other gods to serve them. But it shall come to pass, if you do not obey the voice of the Most High your God, to observe carefully all his commandments and his statutes, which I command you today, that all those curses will come upon you and overtake you. Cursed shall you be in the city, and cursed shall you be in the country. Cursed shall you be, cursed shall be your basket and your kneading bowl. Cursed shall be the fruit of your body. That means your children will be cursed. And the produce of your land, the increase of your cattle, and the offspring of your flocks. Cursed shall you be when you go out. We got to be careful even when we go to the club, to the supermarket, to a fast food restaurant, sitting in your car and drive through. Somebody could just shoot and kill you while you're sitting in your car. I remember my father told me years ago, he said, son, when you go out, please be careful. And it's very dangerous in Durham, North Carolina. He said, I was on my way into this liquor house. Yeah, I used to hang out in liquor houses too after I got older. And he was telling me this while I was grown. And he said that while he was closing his car door, a guy who was sweating real bad ran up to him and said, yeah, Ian, you didn't think I'd catch up to you, did you, huh? And my father said, I just looked at the guy. He said, I know I had never seen him before. So he said, somebody out in a distance yelled at the guy, said, man, come on here, man. What you doing? That ain't the guy. And my father told me that he went back he opened up his door and, got the pistol, but I would have probably went home. It probably been a warning. I don't know. Maybe I would have done the same thing. But in other words, just be careful, because our own people are doing it to each other. And it's part of a curse. It's part of a curse. Cursed shall you be when you go out. The Most High will send on you cursing, confusion, and rebuke in all that you set your hand to do, until you are destroyed and until you perish quickly because of the wickedness of your doings, in which you have forsaken me, which you have forsaken the Most High. The Most High will make the plague cling to you until he has consumed you from the land which you are going to possess. The Most High will strike you with consumption. Oh yeah, I looked that up. This means the Most High will strike you with consumption, means we will always be buying stuff, never can save money. We're going to be considered major consumers as a nation of people. We call ourselves African American, Black, stuff like that. We've reduced ourselves to a color now, a crayon box. But we are the children of Israel. And this word in this scripture means that we won't be known as producers of anything. For an example, I don't know exactly what China leads the world in, but for an example, just for conversation's sake, we'll say that China leads the world in the production of rice. And America leads the world in the production of furniture, we'll say. But the African American or so-called black, we lead the world as a consumer. And we always running out of stuff. That's what that means. I had to look it up. With fever. That's a lot. That can mean a lot of stuff. Cancer. They call it COVID. That's if that's really true. The flu. Just sicknesses. With inflammation. Inflammation is an ancient word that actually means obesity. I'm not talking about the rest of the world, fat people in every bloodline. I'm talking about the children of Israel. We're not supposed to be big and fat. That's a curse. And it's a spiritual thing too, because we believe that being cursed is normal. We even put normalcy to curses, to our sicknesses. We think it's normal to become big and fat and always on medication with a regular doctor's appointment after we reach a certain age. That seems normal to us, but it's not normal, because Scripture says these are curses. My Aunt Ethel is over 90 years old and can walk, and she goes to play bingo with other family members, especially my aunt. I can't think of her name right now, but yeah, she goes and still plays bingo. She's not bedridden. A few illnesses and ailments because of, we all, ate pork at one time and this, that, and the other, but she's still walking around and talking and not in the hospital. And cooking. She cooked some good salmon cakes that day. With inflammation, that means obesity. That's not a normal thing. With severe burning fever, with the sword, that means we're going to be murdered. The children of Israel are going to, one of the curses is to be killed. The sword means a killing, murder, a horrible death, man. With scorching and with mildew, they shall pursue you until you perish. Matthew chapter 5, 17 through 19. This is Joshua speaking. Do not think that I have come to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For assuredly, I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle will by no means pass from the law till all is fulfilled. He says, do not think I have come to destroy or change the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. He didn't come to change the law. So whatever Scripture says, that's what we have to do. Yeshua is our sacrifice. We don't have to take any animal, any clean animal to the altar anymore and shed blood with it. Yeshua is our blood. He's our sacrifice. We don't have to go to a man anymore and say, hey, I need you to go to the Most High for me. Go to the Most High for yourself in the name of Yahshua. For assuredly I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle will by no means pass from the law till all is fulfilled. Whoever therefore breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches men so shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does and teach them, he shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Food is not supposed to have ingredients or shelf life with preservatives made with chemicals that are manufactured and created by man. If it has a label naming different man-made ingredients that are added to the product, is not real food. If it has a label naming different man-made ingredients that are added to the product, that's not real food. Real food doesn't have or need ingredients. The Most High already told us what was what. That's right. Guess what it was? Unclean and clean. That's it. That's it. That's it. I remember some years ago I was living in Myrtle Beach, and I was speaking with a person, and I was just letting them know, we were talking about different foods and stuff, and I was letting them know, I was like, you know, corn is not of the Most High. The Most High, that's man. Corn is man-made. And I want to describe how when you eat corn and you go to, empty your stomach and you look into the commode, you will see whole kernels and chewed up kernels. If your teeth didn't get it, it went down your throat and it was not digested. It wasn't brown like the other feces, like everything else turned. The corn was still corn. Our bodies are not meant to digest corn. Corn is not from the Most High. And they were telling me that corn is in the Bible. And I even said back then, of course, because that's English translation. But in the original translations of the scriptures, corn is not mentioned because nobody knew anything about it. But here we go. Definition for corn. So-called Hebrew word is dagan, which means grain. The word corn does not appear in the New King James Version or the New American Standard. It appears in the King James, but not the New. Or the New American Standard, which is also known as the NASB. Corn, as we today know it, is a highly bred grain developed from maize, M-I-A-Z-E. It was first domesticated by ancient people in what is now called Central America, possibly in southern Mexico's Tehuacan Valley, and is not known to have existed outside of the Americas until after Christopher Columbus and other Europeans came. The word corn does appear over 100 times in the King James Version because in Old English it had a different meaning. At the time, the King James Version, at the time the King James Bible was translated, the word corn meant grain of any type. The English word corn came from the German and Old Norse, Norse word, Korn, meaning grain. The King James Version translates the Hebrew word dagan, which means grain, as corn. Dagan is a general term representing all the types of seeds, kernels, and grains, including wheat, barley, spelt, peas, beans, and other seeds. With this corresponds the translation of the Greek word kokkos, meaning grain. The King James Version, for an example, has this: Verily, verily, I say unto you, this is the King James Version, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it will abideth alone. But if it die, it bringeth forth much fruit. Now here is the NASB version. Excuse me. Truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat, now remember the King James Version says, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground. The NASB says, truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. Barley is a grain that was cultivated in ancient Egypt and in Israel. It was usually the food for horses. Barley bread was used by the poorer people. Corn, which is also called maize, maize, originated in the Balsas River Valley of southern Mexico, where it was domesticated from a wild grass called Teosinte, roughly 9,000 years ago. Indigenous peoples in Mesoamerica transformed the Teosinte, which had tiny, hard, few-kerneled ears, into modern corn through selective breeding. We're going to find out what the Most High says about when you add this to that and that to this to make this. It spread throughout the Americas over thousands of years before reaching other continents. Corn is considered a man-made plant as it cannot grow in the wild on its own. And the tree of knowledge of good and evil represents adding stuff that the Most High didn't intend on being added with that. So good is not supposed to be mixed with evil. Good is supposed to flee from evil. You're not supposed to intertwine with evil. You're supposed to, the scripture says, evil is, you're supposed to expose evil. You're not supposed to be with evil. And so with that said, the Baphomet is in honor of or represents, as well as the fallen angels' knowledge, the fallen angel knowledge. It all represents false, fake science, and it represents putting things together that were not intended to be together. The Baphomet is the goat head, a woman's upper body, and a man's lower body. It's half goat, half female, half male. The Most High says you're either going to be a whole goat, a whole woman, or a whole man. You're not supposed to be born a man and transformed into a woman, or born a woman and transformed into a man. That's a sin. But we're going to get into this food. We talk about corn was deeply intertwined with the religious and social life of indigenous cultures, such as the Maya and Aztecs, who developed complex agricultural systems. Like the Three Sisters agricultural system, it's called corn, beans, and squash. I'm going to talk about squash. Squash originated in the Americas, with archaeological evidence indicating cultivation in Mexico and parts of Central America, Central and South America, as early as 8,000 to 10,000 years ago. It was one of the earliest domesticated crops in the region, forming part of the Three Sisters agricultural system, alongside maize and beans. The name squash is derived from ASKUTASQUASH, a word from the NARARAGANSETT Native American language. It was unknown in Europe until the late 16th century. Pinto beans originated in the Americas over 7,000 years ago. I apologize, everyone. I'm just briefly naming a few foods that were created by man that the Most High didn't have anything to do with. But we eat them to this day, and this is a reason why we have our illnesses. Because these are not you'll see. Pinto beans originated in the Americas over 7,000 years ago, were domesticated in Mexico and Peru alongside corn and squash, known as painted beans in Spanish. They were a staple for indigenous Mexican American and southwestern U.S. cultures. Archaeologists suggest pinto beans were cultivated in Mesoamerica and Peru thousands of years ago, forming part of the sustainable Three Sisters agricultural system: corn, beans, and squash. Potatoes originated in the Andean mountains of South America, specifically Peru and northwestern Bolivia, where they were domesticated by indigenous peoples around 8,000, 5,000 BC. Recent scientific studies indicate that the potato evolved evolved, not created, evolved. That means man has something to do with it. In the Andes through the hybridization, hybridization, hybridization of ancient wild potato-like plants and wild tomato plants. So all this stuff was put together in order to make the potatoes as we know them today. So the Most High did not create these things. Potatoes were first cultivated by the Inca Indians in the Andes Mountains. Potatoes come from different species of plants put together. Different stuff. Rice originated in Asia as a wild grass. Cultivated rice, as we know it today, was first grown in Southeast Asia around 10,000 years ago, possibly in India. So rice as we know it today. So that means before as we know it today, it was something else. Cauliflower originated in the Mediterranean region, particularly Asia Minor and Cyprus, with roots tracing back to ancient Roman cultivation of wild cabbage. Oh boy. It was developed through selective breeding. Different things put together to make this and to make that. That is not of the Most High. That is of man. With documented distinct varieties appearing around the 12th or 13th century in the Arab world before spreading to Italy and wider Europe. Carrots originated in Central Asia, specifically around modern-day Afghanistan and Iran, with domestication beginning around the 10th century. Originally, they were purple or yellow and cultivated for their aromatic roots. The familiar orange carrot was developed in the 17th century by Dutch breeders, it says. The familiar orange carrot was developed in the 17th century by Dutch breeders. Oh boy. Leviticus 19:19. Most High speaking to Moses. You shall keep my statutes. You shall not let your livestock breed with other kind. You shall not sow your field with mixed seed. Deuteronomy 22:9-11. You shall not sow your vineyard with different kinds of seeds, or the yield of the seed which you have sown and the fruit of your vineyard be defiled. They will be defiled if you did that. You shall not plow with an ox and a donkey together. You shall not wear a garment in different sorts, such as wool and linen mixed together. I just threw that in there to self-explain, to help explain the scriptures before that. Now, a male donkey is known as a jack, and a female horse is known as a mare, M-A-R-E, and a male donkey is J-A-C-K, which both of them, a donkey and a horse, a male horse and a female, a female horse and a male donkey and a female horse makes a mule. A male horse and a female donkey creates an animal called a hinny, Hinny, which both mule and hinny are sterile. Two mules cannot reproduce, and two hinnies cannot reproduce. Every mule must be produced by crossing a donkey and a horse, rather than through breeding between two mules. Jasher, chapter 4, verse 18. And their judges and rulers went to the daughters of men and took their wives by force from their husbands according to their choice. And the sons of men in those days took from the cattle of the earth, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the air, and taught the mixture of animals of one species with the other, in order therewith to provoke the Most High into anger, of course. And the Most High saw the whole earth, and it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted its ways upon earth, all men, all animals. That's the reason for the flood. Everything was corrupt, going against the Most High's word. Jasher 36, chapter 36, verse 32. And those animals from their middle downward were in the shape of children of men. And from their middle upward, from your waistline up, some had the likeness of bears, and some the likeness of the kephas, the Keephas, with tails behind them from between their shoulders, reaching down to the earth, like the tails of the Ducheepath. And these animals came and mounted and rode upon these asses, these donkeys, and led them away unto this day. So whatever these things are, from the waist down, they appeared to be human. From the waist up, they appeared to be likeness of bears, and some likeness of a kepha. I looked it up, couldn't find it. A very good description anyway. But that's half animal, half human. And it says they mounted and rode upon those asses and led them away unto this day. So that means these creatures are still existing somewhere here on earth. Jasher 61, 14, and 15. Jasher chapter 61, verses 14 and 15. And it was one day Zepho, Zepho, who was Esau's grandson, lost a young heifer, and he went to seek it, and he heard it lowing around about the mountain. And Zepho went, and he saw, and behold, there was a large cave at the bottom of the mountain, and there was a great stone there at the entrance of the cave. And Zepho split the stone, and he came into the cave, and he looked, and behold, a large animal was devouring the ox. From the middle upward, from the waist on up, it resembled a man. And from the middle downward, from the waist down, it resembled an animal. And Zepho rose up against the animal and slew it with his swords. And I'll just add this. One ancient name for this creature is called a centaur. Centaur. We're about to talk about some modern day words that they use now to identify foods to deceive you into eating unclean foods. Protein. The term protein was coined in 1838 by Swedish chemist Jons with 2 dots over the O, Johns Jacob Berzelius, Berzelius, in a letter to Dutch chemist Gerardus Johannes Mulder, Mulder. It is derived from the Greek word proteins, meaning of first rank or primary or holding the first place. It was meant to define a single primary substance that forms the basis of animal nutrition as proposed in 1838. Not only meat, but many different foods are considered protein-based. When we begin to put foods under categories and labels other than clean foods and unclean foods, most will be deceived into eating the unclean meats and veggies. By way of everyone's favorite famous human, alongside certain chosen doctors and scientists, because every doctor and every scientist are not going to lie to you, just certain chosen ones. We are influenced to navigate through life without the Most High or his instructions and ingredients. The Most High gave us the very first ingredients in the world: clean and unclean. If you have food that comes with ingredients, you have purchased a package of poison. Bags, cans, bottles, and boxes. Stay away from the processed foods. Everything's already ready to eat and drink. Pre-cooked, heated up. You don't have to cook anything that's dangerous. And through these famous people and scientific influences, we are influenced and encouraged, or what I like to call deceived, into being in agreement with these eating trends and or habits. We're going to talk about carbohydrates. Scientifically, they were classified by William Prout in 1827 and termed carbohydrates by Carl Schmitt in 1844. In the early 19th century, scientists began understanding the chemistry of carbohydrates, including the discovery of glucose formation from starch in 1811 and the identification of glycogen in 1856. William Prout first proposed classifying food components into saccharin, sugars, starches, oily, which means fats, and albuminoous, which another word for protein, in 1827. German chemist Carl Schmidt coined the term carbohydrate in 1844. Genesis chapter 7, 1 through 3. Then the Most High said to Noah, "Come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. You shall take with you seven each. You shall take with you seven each of every clean animal." Now, when I was growing up on the cartoons and stuff, and the movies and the Ten Commandments, maybe they did say seven, but for what I understand and what I've been taught is 2 by 2. 2 by 2. Okay, here we go. You shall take with you seven each of every clean animal, a male and his female. 2 each of animals that are unclean. The unclean are 2 by 2. A male and his female. Also, 7 each of birds of the air. 7, male and female, to keep the species alive on the face of all the earth. Genesis chapter 8, 20, verses 20 and 21. Then Noah built an altar to the Most High and took of every clean animal and of every clean bird. Not unclean animal and not unclean bird. He took one of every clean animal and one of every species of clean birds and one of every species of clean animal, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Most High smelled a soothing aroma. Then the Most High said in his heart, "I will never again curse the ground for man's sake. Although the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth, nor will I again destroy every living thing as I have done." Just by being just by Noah being obedient. This is the blessing that him and his children gets. They get totally blessed. And no unclean animal was sacrificed. And that explains the 7. That number 7 was the sacrifice. That was the sacrificial animal. He says to bring 7 of all the clean everything. And that number 7 animal was to be the sacrifice. The Most High is wonderful. Noah said, "Thank you, Most High." Jasher chapter 6. Verses 1, 2, 4, and 9. Jasher chapter 6, verses 1, 2, 4, and 9. At that time, after the death of Methuselah, the Most High said to Noah, "Go thou with thy household into the ark." I just added this because I always wondered, ever since I was a child and heard the Noah ark story, I always wondered exactly how was Noah able to get these animals? We're about to find out. The Most High said to Noah, go thou with thy household into the ark. Behold, I will gather to thee all the animals of the earth, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the air, and they shall all come and surround the ark. And thou shalt go and seat thyself by the doors of the ark. And all the beasts, the animals, and the fowls shall assemble and place themselves before thee. And such of them as shall come and crouch before thee, before you. That means kneel. That means to bow before Noah. Shalt thou take and deliver into the hands of thy sons, who shall bring them to the ark. Check this out. I'm going to read it again. Excuse me. And thou shalt go and seat thyself by the doors of the ark, and all the beasts, the animals, and the fowls shall assemble and place themselves before thee, and such of them as shall come and crouch, bow down before thee. Thank you, Noah. We are humble. The heart, the Most High is in our hearts. Shalt thou take and deliver into the hands of thy sons, who shall bring them to the ark, and all that will stand before thee thou shalt leave. So if the animal comes and don't bow, don't crouch, you leave them on the earth, because you don't want anything in there without with the Most High not being on their hearts. That ship starts getting wild. With that water. I'm ex-Navy. I was stationed on a ship, and I've been seasick and had to go to work. And when you're walking inside of a ship and it's a storm outside and no, those waves are going crazy, you're walking with your hands out beside you because they have to touch the walls because you're going side by side, and it's very violent. You're being knocked up against stuff. It's very violent inside of a ship. And when you have a wild animal and they don't have the Most High in their hearts, man, look, all that stuff that's going on inside, they will go crazy. They won't have the Most High in them. So they're going to act like a wild animal will act when they feel danger, feel in danger. And Noah went and seated himself by the door of the ark, and of all flesh that crouched, that bowed before him, he brought into the ark. And all that stood before he left upon the earth. 2 and 2 came to Noah into the ark. But from the clean animals and clean fowls, he brought 7 couples, as the Most High commanded him. Leviticus 11, 1 through 46. Now the Most High spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying to them, speak to the children of Israel, saying, these are the animals which you may eat among all the animals that are on the earth. Among the animals, whatever divides the hoof, having cloven hooves, and chewing the cud, that you may eat. Nevertheless, these you shall not eat among those that chew the cud, or those that have cloven hooves. If it's doing one of the two, you can't eat it. It's got to do both. It's got to chew the cud and have cloven hooves. And these are the animals that you're not supposed to eat, just to name a few. The camel, because it chews the cud but does not have cloven hooves. It is unclean to you. The rock, Hyrax, I guess it's Hyrax, the rock Hyrax, because it chews the cud but does not have cloven hooves, is unclean to you. The hare, the rabbit, not supposed to eat a rabbit, because it chews the cud but does not have cloven hooves, is unclean to you. And the swine, though it divides the hoof, having cloven hooves, yet does not chew the cud, is unclean to you. Their flesh you shall not eat, and their carcasses you shall not touch. They are unclean to you. Their flesh you shall not eat, and their dead bodies you shall not touch. They are unclean to you. These you may eat of all that are in the water. And see, the Most High did not say, don't eat red meat, don't eat meat, be a vegetarian only. That's not in Scripture. Whatever in the water has fins and scales, whether in the seas or in the rivers, that you may eat, but all in the seas or in the rivers that do not have fins and scales, all that move in the water, or any living thing which is in the water, they are an abomination to you. They shall be an abomination to you. You shall not eat their flesh, but you shall regard their carcasses as an abomination. Whatever in the water does not have fins or scales, that shall be an abomination to you. And that means, I love my people. I love us. We have to stop eating seaweed. Gotta stop drinking or whatever you're doing with this seaweed and sea moss. You have to leave it alone. You have to. It says, all that move in the water or any living thing which is in the water, they are an abomination to you. They shall be an abomination to you. You shall not eat or congest them, their flesh, but you shall regard their carcasses as an abomination. Whatever in the water does not have fins or scales, that shall be an abomination to you. And some things can be understood without being said. So we know catfish don't have scales. They have fins. They don't have scales. And it's a bottom dweller. They stay at the bottom. They are the sanitation departments of the water. Your crabs, your lobsters, your shrimp. Oh, I used to love shrimp. Man, yeah. Those are also bottom dwellers. Even if they were not bottom dwellers, even if they were not the sanitation departments of the water, of the seas. crawdads, crayfish. Yeah, they got scales. No, excuse me. Yeah, they have scales, but not fins. You have to have fins and scales. So these other creatures, they have scales, but no fins. What the tail? That's not a fin. That's the tail. And so we can't argue, so we can keep eating this stuff. And well, go ahead. That's how come we have these sicknesses, and it seems like we can never get better. It's like we're always coming down with some type of ailment or illness. And these you shall regard as an abomination among the birds. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination. The eagle, the vulture, the buzzard, the kite, and the falcon after its kind. Every raven after its kind. The ostrich, the short-eared owl, the seagull, and the hawk after its kind. The little owl, the fisher owl, and the screech owl, the white owl. Yeah, I used to smoke with the white owls, but didn't know you couldn't eat them. But can't smoke them either. The white owl, the jackdaw, and the carrion vulture, the stork, the heron, and its kind, the hoopoe. I don't know exactly what that is, and the bat, the bat. Not supposed to be eating bats in caves. No type of bat. All flying insects that creep on all fours shall be an abomination to you. Yet these you may eat of every flying insect that creeps on all fours. Those which have jointed legs above their feet, with which to leap on the earth, these you may eat. The locust after its kind, the destroying locust after its kind, the cricket after its kind, and the grasshopper after its kind. But all other flying insects which have 4 feet shall be an abomination to you. And before I keep reading, I remember on the news one morning last year where scientists have discovered how to make milk out of roaches. It's called roach milk. That is all. By these you shall become unclean. Whoever touches the carcass of any of them shall be unclean until evening. Whoever carries part of the carcasses of any of them, shall wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. The carcass of any animal which divides the foot, but is not cloven hooved, or does not chew the cud, is unclean to you. Everyone who touches it shall be unclean. And whatever goes on his paws among all kinds of animals that go on all fours, those are unclean to you. Whoever touches any such carcass shall be unclean until evening. Whoever carries away such carcass shall wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. It is unclean to you. These also shall be unclean to you among the creepy things that creep on the earth, the mole, the mouse, and the large lizard after its kind, the gecko, the monitor lizard, the sand reptile, the sand lizard, and the chameleon, these are unclean to you, all that creep. Whoever touches them when they are dead shall be unclean until evening. Anything on which any of them falls, when they are dead, shall be unclean, whether it is any item of wood or clothing or skin or sack. Whatever item it is in which any work is done, it must be put in water, and it shall be unclean until evening. Then it shall be clean. Any earthen vessel into which any of them falls you shall break, and whatever is in them falls you shall break, and whatever is in it shall be unclean. In such a vessel, any edible food upon which water falls becomes unclean, and any drink that may be drunk from it becomes unclean. And everything on which a part of any such carcass falls shall be unclean, whether it is an oven or cooking stove, it shall be broken down, for they are unclean, and shall be unclean to you. Nevertheless, a spring or a cistern in which there is plenty of water shall be clean. But whatever touches any such carcass becomes unclean. And if a part of any such carcass falls on any planting seed, which is to be sown, it remains clean. But if water is put on the seed, and if a part of any such carcass falls on it, it becomes unclean to you. And if any animal which you may eat dies, he who touches it, its carcass, shall be unclean until evening. He who eats of its carcass shall wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. He also who carries its carcass shall wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. And every creepy thing that creeps on the earth shall be an abomination. It shall not be eaten. Whatever crawls on his belly, whatever goes on all fours, or whatever has many feet among all creepy things that creep on the earth, these you shall not eat, for they are an abomination. You shall not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creeps, nor shall you make yourselves unclean with them, or you be defiled by them. For I am the Most High your God. You shall therefore consecrate yourselves, and you shall be holy, for I am holy. Neither shall you defile yourselves with any creepy thing that creeps on the earth, for I am the Most High, who brings you up out of the land of Egypt, house of bondage, to be your God. You shall therefore be holy, for I am holy. This is the law of the animals and the birds and every living creature that moves in the waters, and of every creature that creeps on the earth, to distinguish between the unclean and the clean, and between the animal that may be eaten and the animal that may not be eaten. Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 3 through 21. You shall not eat any detestable thing. These are the animals which you may eat: the ox, which is the cow, the sheep, the goat, the deer, the gazelle, the roe deer, the wild goat, the mountain goat, the antelope, and the mountain sheep. And you may eat every animal with cloven hooves, having the hoof split into two parts, and that chews the cud among the animals. Nevertheless, of these that chew the cud or have cloven hooves, you shall not eat. Such as these, the camel, the rabbit, and the rock hyrax, for they chew the cud, but do not have cloven hooves. They are unclean for you. Also, the swine is unclean for you, because it has cloven hooves, yet does not chew the cud. You shall not eat their flesh or touch their dead carcasses. These you may eat of all that are in the waters. You may eat all that have fins and scales, and whatever does not have fins and scales, you shall not eat. It is unclean for you. All clean birds you may eat, but these you shall not eat: the eagle, the vulture, the buzzard, the red kite, the falcon, the kite, and after their kind, every raven after its kind, the ostrich, the short-eyed owl, the seagull, the hawk after their kinds, the little owl, the screech owl, the white owl, the jackdaw, the carrion vulture, the fisher owl, the stork, the heron after its kind, and the hoopoe, Hoopoe, and the bat. Also, creepy thing that flies is unclean for you. They shall not be eaten. You may eat all clean birds. You shall not eat anything that dies of itself. That means even if it is a clean animal and you find it where it had already just naturally died, we're not supposed to eat that animal. You may give it to the alien who is within you, within your gates, that he may eat it, or you may sell it to a foreigner, for you are a holy people to the Most High your God. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. And the reason why the Most High said this, because the Canaanites used to take live baby goats and boil them in its mother's milk as when they would give homage and when they would be having ceremonies in honor of their fertility gods. This is what the Canaanites would do in honor of their fertility gods, is to take live baby goats and boil them in their mother's milk. And the Most High says that the Israelite people are not supposed to even do that. Being disobedient will bring spiritual and physical curses in your life. You will always have a doctor's appointment, be big and fat, have diabetes, high blood pressure, heart problems, high cholesterol, clogged arteries, can't ever seem to get unsick. Other words, always something wrong. Colon cancer, prostate cancer, this, that, and the other. And I want to say this. When I was living in Myrtle Beach, I went to go see I was in a car accident back in 2016 involving an 18-wheeler. And so on my right shoulder, the rotator cuff was disconnected from the shoulder. And through specialists, I was told that it could never be repaired, which they told the truth. And so I was seeking, because I was told by lawyers to go ahead and seek disability. So I went to go see a doctor in Myrtle Beach. And at this time, by me being a single father, my son didn't have school. It was during the summertime. And so the doctor was telling me, "Oh, you can bring your son inside of the examining room, so he won't sit out here by himself." And because he was young. And I said, "Okay." So he came with me, and we sat in there. And the doctor came in and did what she did, and was giving me thumbs up on my cholesterol level. Actually, she said it's the best she had ever seen in anybody my age. Because I don't eat macaroni and cheese and mashed potatoes and gravy. I don't eat that stuff like that. And she also and so she asked me if had I ever had diabetes, and I said no. And she said, "Does your family have a history of diabetes?" And I answered her with these words. I said, "Only the ones who eat wrong, who don't eat right." And she looked at me and she asked me again, "Does any," I know I'm not stupid, "does any of your family members, oh no, does your family have a history of diabetes?" My answer was the same. And so she goes to tell me that diabetes is hereditary. And my son was sitting right there. And people who really know me know I'm very outspoken. And so I said, that's not true. These are my words. I said, that's not true. I said, diabetes comes from the foods that you eat. If you eat right, you won't get diabetes. You cannot reverse the damages that diabetes will cause, but you can always get rid of it or prevent it through your eating habits. And she looked at me and walked out the room. But she eventually, make a long story short, she eventually denied me on my claim. And she said there was nothing wrong with me. And so, that I call that get back. You know how evil people can be if you're not in agreement with them. They become spoiled brats and want to do you dirty because you are not in agreement with their foolishness. And so I'm like, also, I'm not going to allow you to lie. And my son is sitting right there and have him to believe you because you are a doctor. And so I couldn't just let you walk away with that one. I had to present the truth immediately because you told a lie immediately. And so you have our people. These doctors are trained to lie to our people. That way we'll keep eating the same foods and not knowing that we're killing us, that we're spending money on our own destruction. We're paying for our own deaths, for our own cancers, for our own doctor bills, prescription. We're paying for these things twice and double and triple. And so if you're being lied to about something, you're not going to stop doing it because you don't know the truth. And I just had to say that. Thousands of years ago, the Most High commanded us to not chew on or deal with the dead body of the swine, pig, or hog. But yet we discover thousands of years later that the meat from the swine have toxins that are harmful to the human body. But the Most High was telling us, just don't eat it. Like your parent would, my parent, hey, don't do it because I told you don't do it. Some parents are not going to explain to you why. They just said don't do it. And if you break the rule, you get, punishment or whooping. Genesis 1, chapter 1, verses 29 and 30. And the Most High said, see, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seeds. To you it shall be for food. Also to every beast of the earth, to every bird of the air, he's talking to the animals, and to everything that creeps on the earth, in which there is life, I have given every green herb for food. And it was so. Seaweed and sea moss doesn't have seeds. They are microorganisms. Plus, they grow in the sea and don't have fins and scales. Deuteronomy chapter 14, 9 and 10 commands us, quote, "These you may eat of all that are in the waters. You may eat all that have fins and scales. And whatever does not have fins and scales, you shall not eat. It is unclean for you." Leviticus 11, chapter 11, verse 9 through 12. "These you may eat of all that are in the water. Whatever in the water has fins and scales, whether in the seas or in the rivers, that you may eat. But all in the seas or in the rivers that do not have fins and scales, all that move in the water, or any living thing which is in the water, they are an abomination to you. They shall be an abomination to you. You shall not eat their flesh, but you shall regard their carcasses as an abomination. Whatever in the water does not have fins or scales, that shall be an abomination to you." Mushrooms are a fungi. They are not seed bearing. They don't have seeds. Stop eating your mushrooms on your pizza. And by the way, pepperoni is from pork. Pepperoni is pork. Pizzas are not really good for you anyway, but you can still make pizzas that are healthy without the pepperoni and without the mushrooms. Mark chapter 7, verse 14 through 16. And this is Joshua speaking. "Hear me," this is Joshua talking, "everyone, and understand. There is nothing that enters a man or woman from outside which can defile him or her. But the things which come out of him, those are the things that defile a man. If anyone has ears to hear, let him hear." Because I know somebody's going to be like, "Man, but see, the Bible said that you can eat anything." Okay. I remember when I was young, and a certain family member who's a preacher, he said in one of his sermons, I was sitting right there in church. He said, "Now that Jesus has come and died for our sins, we can eat things that we're not supposed to eat." He didn't say it like that, but he said that all we have to do is pray over the things now. So whatever that he said that the Most High said don't eat, all we have to do is pray over it. And I've heard other preachers say this, that since Jesus has come, Yahshua has come, we don't have to kill anything and shed the blood at the altar, which is true. And all we have to do now is just pray over the food. Well, you can eat poison and pray over it, and it'll still kill you. And it's moderation. I forgot. We're gonna talk about this scripture I just read. And some people say, "Well, if you eat it in well, go ahead and eat poison in moderation. Then it'll just kill you slower. You'll just have a longer doctor's appointment. You'll be on prescriptions longer. You'll be having illnesses and sickness longer. Mark chapter 7, 14 through 16. Hear me, everyone, and understand. There is nothing that enters a man, I'll say, or woman, from outside which can defile him or her, but the things which come out of him, those are the things that defile a man. If anyone has ears to hear, let him hear. And that last part is letting you know that this is something spiritual, that it's not talking about what it's talking about. Hear me out. The scribes and Pharisees were hypocrites. They were doing all what they wanted to do. You know how people are. Live like they want to live, and then they remembered you, how you used to live, and then you coming with this word, and they got something to say. Well, I remember when you, and let me tell you what the nigga, and he sold drugs. Yeah, I used to sell drugs too, big time. Never used them. I've been accused of never done cocaine, but that's for another video. I don't know why those people are saying I did, because I never done it, never been hooked on it. But listen, some people, it's not all, some people get mad because they don't want you to change, because now that you change, you're calling them a liar because they've been talking about you behind your back. So now you done changed. Now they don't have anything bad to say about you anymore. So these Pharisees and scribes needed an upper hand. So they go and see these disciples, Yeshua's disciples, eating bread with dirty hands. Ah, well, we got them. Uh-huh. Yep. I knew it. They weren't living like they be preaching. You know how people look, got you under a microscope, magnifying glass. They went to Yeshua. Hey, we see your people over here eating without cleaning their hands. Remember, your people are the Israelites. Y'all believe in washing before eating, because it's an abomination if you don't. Yeshua says, Mark 7, chapter 7, 6 through 7, 6 and 7. This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me, and in vain they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. Has nothing to do with the food that we eat. This was talking about pointing out wrong in somebody to make a point, so they can cause them. But Yahshua called the scribes and Pharisees, you a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. Because you do all what you do, but yet you're pointing the finger at somebody else over here doing something that's none of your business. And it's not the food that defiles the heart. It's not what goes in a man that defiles the heart. See, this is a heart thing. So it's talking about your heart is corrupted. Not by the food. So the corruption of your heart will show up through your speaking, the things that you talk about, and the things that you do. That will reflect what's on your heart. So it's a heart thing. That's what that's talking about. It wasn't talking about you can eat unclean foods now, because Yeshua said he didn't come to destroy the law. He came to make sure it gets done. It gets fulfilled. Now, there's a woman who I respect. I've been watching her videos for years on YouTube. Shahrazad, Shahrazad Ali. I don't want to mess up her name. Much respect to that sister. Shahrazad Ali. I want to talk about briefly in her video, about the black man's guide, and where she said she went on what she called the chitlin circuit, where she was trying to promote to our people to stay away from the pork, stay away from the pig. And she said that there were a lot of sisters that rose up against her. And sisters, you are the ones who make sure we eat wrong or right. Because you the ones cook. I'm mainly talking about the ones who are not out chasing their careers, who want a family and are blessed with families. And you like to cook. I understand that. But we have to understand that certain things will bring curses to your family that we eat and cook. And by us only going off social media and other folks' philosophies and instructions, and we don't read scripture, then we're continuing to curse ourselves. I had to throw that in there. Much respect to that sister. I'm about to let you know these are products made from the pig. Pigs provide numerous byproducts beyond meat. Now remember, we're not supposed to be touching the carcasses, the dead stuff. If it's unclean foods, we're not even supposed to be touching the dead bodies or doing anything with the dead bodies. Pigs provide numerous byproducts beyond meat, with over 185 uses ranging from medical advancements to household goods, utilizing parts like skin, fat, bones, and blood. Key byproducts include pharmaceuticals, materials, and industrial items. A few foods that are made from pigs: lard, jello, gelatin, marshmallows, yogurt, fertilizer, bone meal, sausage casings, blood meal, pepperoni, beer, cheesecake, bread dough. That's why you don't shop in the middle of the grocery store. You don't shop in the middle. That's where all the poison is. Death in bags, boxes, cans, and bottles. You shop up against the wall of the grocery stores. That's where all your fresh produce and your fresh meats are, around the wall of the grocery store. Bread dough, energy bars, licorice, chewing gum, breath mints, lollipops, cupcakes, vanilla pudding, chocolate mousse, ice cream, pet food, and modern day wine that they don't make from the grapes. And another thing, I want to say this real quick. For what I understand, there's more than just pig meat or pig byproduct that's going into pet food. We need to be careful when we go out. We need to be careful with our young folks when they go out, because a lot of our people are being kidnapped and there's no traces of them. And a lot of that is not being talked about the news or YouTube. I'm not talking about the ones that are found dead. I'm talking about the ones that come up missing on a regular basis in different areas of the country, and bodies are never found. And these are young folks. A lot of them are young so-called African American or blacks. I'm just leave it at that. It's more than just pigs going at pet food. Everyday non-food items. Here's just a brief description of what. Shampoo, fabric softener, hair and paint brushes, matches that you strike, beauty masks the beauty mask creams, paintballs, inkjet paper, jigsaw puzzles, book covers, wallpaper, sandpaper, shoe leather, chia figurines, cadmium batteries and bullets, chemical weapons labs, train brakes, soap that you wash your body with, cosmetics, crayons that you color coloring books, shaving creams, lotions, footballs, gloves, purses, luggage, hair grease, toothbrushes, toothpaste made with gel. And these are medicines that are made from pig products, from the carcass of a dead pig. HEPARIN, heparin, I guess, or heparin, is an anticoagulant, is an anticoagulant drug that comes from the mucus lining of pigs' small intestines. It is used to stop blood clots from forming in humans. Oh boy. The lining of a pig's bladder is known to possess special cell regeneration qualities and is currently being used in combination with human stem cells to regenerate actual human body parts. The human heart valves are replaced with pig heart valves, not other human heart valves who donate their bodies to science. But we're going to take pigs, okay. Insulin. Insulin is used for human diabetes treatment and extracted from the pancreas glands of pigs. Check this out. Pig insulin differs by only one amino acid from human insulin. So you can't get the insulin from humans that are an exact match, but yet there's people who donate their bodies to, okay. But insulin, but you go and it says pig insulin differs by only one amino acid from human. Okay. These are medicines that are made from the adrenal glands of the pig. ADRENAL, adrenal glands of the pig. corticosteroids, corticosteroids are powerful anti-inflammatory and immunosuppressant medications. that mimic natural cortisol to treat conditions like asthma, arthritis, allergic reactions, and autoimmune diseases. Commonly prescribed in oral, through the mouth, topical, inhaled, or injectable forms. They provide rapid relief but carry risks of serious side effects with long-term use. I tell you, if you do like the Most High say, eat what he say eat, leave alone what he say leave alone, you won't have side effects. These are medicines made from the blood of the pig. Albumin is crucial for maintaining osmotic pressure, which keeps fluid from leaking out of blood vessels and transports hormones, drugs, and nutrients. Another one, FIB-RIN. FIB-RIN is used for blood clotting, wound healing, and inflammation. Another medicine, plasmin, not plasma, PLASMIN, is used to break down various proteins contributing to inflammation, tissue remodeling, and aiding cancer cell metastasis, metastasis, metastasis. And this is a procedure and medicine that from the brain of the pig. It's called HYPOTHALAMUS tissue from pig's brains, or PORCINE, porcine hypothalamus, is used in whole food-based dietary supplements such as Hypothalmex, HYPOTHALMEX, which are marketed for supporting daily health, providing a unique profile of peptides and nutrients. Oh, and then when I was doing the research about the pig's brain, it says the pig brain stores a very, very dangerous and large amount of cholesterol. And that cholesterol is formed in the pig's brain, and then it goes through the pig's body. And when you eat anything from the pig, you understand? So if you have a high cholesterol level, you're eating products from the pig. Even if you think you don't eat pork anymore, let that sink in. These are medicines made from the ovaries of the pig. Estrogen therapy is used to treat menopause symptoms. Hormone therapy can carry risks, including an increased risk of blood clots, heart disease, stroke, and certain cancers, depending on the type and duration of use. You eat what the Most High say eat, stay away from what he says to stay away from, you won't have any side effects. Another medication that was made from the ovaries of the pig, PROGESTERONE medication taken with estrogen prevents the uterine lining from becoming too thick, reducing the risk of cancer. Oral micronized progesterone can cause side effects such as drowsiness, dizziness, breast tenderness, abdominal pain, and mood changes. Is that why y'all sisters be acting like that? Okay, you need to get off that medication, man. Have y'all in mood change? God knows, man. Love you still. Another drug, relaxin, Relaxin, or serelaxin, Serelaxin, is a hormone-based therapy primarily for acute heart failure, offering vasodilatory, antifibrotic, and anti-inflammatory benefits to reduce cardiac congestion and improve kidney function. It works by enhancing cardiac output and relaxing blood vessels. Side effects may include dizziness and drowsiness. These are drugs made from the pituitary gland of the pig. These are drugs made from the pituitary gland of the pig. A medication called ADR, ENOCOTICO hormone, or is better known as the ACTH medication, such as ACTH gel and a CORTROPHIN gel, are used primarily, these are gels, are used primarily to treat infantile spasms, multiple sclerosis relapses, which is known as MS, and various severe inflammatory conditions like lupus or rheumatoid arthritis. It is administered by injection. Now remember, they're made out of a gel, and the gels are made out of, like your Jellos, is made out of the fat from the pig. When you cook that pig feet and that pig tails and them pig ears, and you let that stuff cool down, and it's shaky, and it's like Jello. It's like unsweeted and uncolored Jello. That is what's used to make your gels. Another medication made from the pituitary gland of the pigs, ANTIDIURETIC hormone, or it's better known as the ADHD medication. If you have children and you took them to the psychiatrist or whatever, your child probably was diagnosed with ADHD, especially back, I think, in the 90s or something. They just blew it off the map. Everybody had ADHD. But anyway, ADHD medications manage symptoms by increasing brain neurotransmitters like dopamine and norepinephrine to improve focus and reduce impulsivity. Common stimulants include Adderall and Vyvanse, VYVANSE, while Strattera is a common non-stimulant. You're just naming medicines for your ADHD child with the pigs in it, with the medicine with the pig. Another drug produced by the pituitary gland of the pig, OXYTOCIN, commonly known by brand names like PITOCIN or SYNTOCINON, is a synthetic hormone used primarily to induce or strengthen labor contractions, control bleeding after childbirth, and assist with breastfeeding. It works by stimulating uterine smooth muscle and is administered intravenously, that's through the vein, or intramuscularly, that's done by a needle but through the muscle, through your muscle tissue. The pituitary gland, again, more medicine. The prolactin, PROLACTIN, medicines such as CAB, ERGOLINE, and BROMOCRIPTINE are used to lower high prolactin levels and shrink prolactin-producing pituitary tumors. They effectively manage symptoms like infertility, irregular periods, and nipple discharge by mimicking dopamine to inhibit prolactin release. The last one, thyroid stimulating hormone, or also known as TSH medication, used to treat hypothyroidism by managing the TSH levels. LEVOTHYROXINE, also known as Unithroid or Synthroid or LEVOXYL, is the most common lifelong treatment. It acts as a synthetic version of the T4 hormone, restoring proper levels to eliminate symptoms. Remember, Deuteronomy 14, chapter 14, verse 8, warns and commands us also, it says 8, quote, also the swine is unclean for you, because it has cloven hooves, yet does not chew the cud. You shall not eat their flesh or touch their dead carcasses. John chapter 17, verse 14. This is Yeshua speaking. I have given them your word, and the world has hated them, because they are not of the world, just as I am not of the world. And I like to say it like this, even though I say it like this too, but I say it like, be ye in the world, but not of it. Yeah, I live in the world, but I'm not a part of this worldly, this new world order foolishness. The Greek word pharmakia is where we get our English words pharmacy and pharmacist. This word was used when referring to witchcraft, sorcery, potions, poisonings, and spells. In the English translation of the scriptures, pharmakia is changed to sorcery, witchcraft, and sorcerer. Galatians chapter 5, verse 19 through 21. Now the works of the flesh are, I'm just putting all this just to give you an example. Now the works of the flesh are evident. The works of the flesh, not the works of the Most High, but it's works of your will. See, the works of the flesh is when you're going about life by way of your will and not the will of the Father, of the Most High. Now the works of the flesh are evident, which are adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lewdness, idolatry, and here we go, sorcery, hatred, contentions, jealousies, outbursts of wrath or outbursts of hatred, selfish ambitions, dissensions, heresies, envy, murders, drunkenness, revelries, and the like, of which I tell you beforehand, just as I also told you in time past, that those who practice such things will not inherit the kingdom of the Most High Creator. Proverbs chapter 23, verse 19 through 21. Hear, my son, and be wise, and guide your heart in the way. Do not mix with winebibbers or with gluttonous eaters of meat, for the drunkard and the glutton will come to poverty, and drowsiness will clothe a man with rags. So eating is not a sin, only when you overeat. Drinking is not a sin, only when you overdrink. So don't be a drunkard and don't be a glutton. Got to have self-control, people. Now, I'm just throwing this out there, and I'm almost finished. But since I read everything, I'm just going to throw these things out here to give us something to think about. Because remember, we're dying of all these cancers and stuff. And all these products, even medicines, are made with products that the Most High told us don't even deal with. They're made from the products that are considered unclean by the Most High. And this is just information to give you something to think about. On a news website called Daily Trust, Abuja, was ABUJA, was an article called Nigeria World Population Explosion Part 2. And here's a little bit of the article. Quote, there are other measures to control the world explosion besides infection with the AIDS virus, of course. Perhaps the best known of these is the United States State Department's Hague-Kissinger depopulation policy. There's a policy called the Hague-Kissinger depopulation policy, which requires third world nations to take positive steps to decrease and hold their populations in check or forfeit development aid. So if you don't decrease your population, you won't receive aid from certain countries. financial aid and other aids and military aid. Its planning body is the National Security Council's. I'm going to have to read this so it can be clear. Its planning body is the National Security Council. That means the National Security Council here in America has an organization called the AD, that's the first word. The second word is HOC. The third, Group on Population. So the name of this organization is called the Ad Hoc Group on Population. And this is formed by the National Security Council, which operates outside the White House and directs its entire efforts to reducing the world's population by 2 billion people through war, famine, disease, and other necessary means. Its personnel are embedded in the State Department's Office of Population Affairs, established by Henry Kissinger in 1973. Okay, and it's called the Haig-Kissinger Depopulation Policy. That's for the foreigners. Okay, Alexander Haig, born 1924, died 2010. Served as U.S. Secretary U.S. Secretary of State and White House Chief of Staff under Presidents Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford. Henry Kissinger, born 1923, died 2023, was an American diplomat and political scientist. He was the number 7 National Security Advisor and the 56th U.S. Secretary of State. He served under Presidents Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford. Kenneth Boulding, Boulding, a University of Colorado economist, warned the world in February 1973 that the human population must stop growing. That the human population must stop growing, or in several hundred years, there will be standing room only. That means we're going to be congested. Won't be enough supplies going around for everybody. And the information I'm about to read, that information and other information I'm about to read came out of the book that's right there in front of you called The Unseen Hand, an introduction to the conspiratorial view of history by A. Ralph Epperson. I'm about to read something else that came out of that book. In a government report entitled Communist Persecution of the Church in Red in North Korea, in a government report that was entitled Communist Persecution of the Church in Red and North Korea, dated March 26, 1959. Ain't nothing new under the sun. It is reported that, quote, all the elderly people 60 years of age and above who cannot work are put in the old people's, quote, happy home. After they are placed in the home, they are given shots. They are told these are for their health, but after the shots are taken, they died within 2 weeks. Organizations called Population Council, Planned Parenthood, and the Population Reference Bureau are funded by the Rockefeller Foundation and, as they say in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Carnegie Foundation, or some people say Carnegie Foundation, and the Ford Foundation. I wonder why the Rockefeller, Carnegie, and Ford Foundation want to give money on a regular basis to the organization called Population Council, the other organization called Planned Parenthood, and then the other organization called the Population Reference Bureau. All dealing with humans, huh? Something also to think about. Jasher, chapter 5, 14 through 17. And the Most High said unto Noah, Take unto thee a wife, and beget children, for I have seen thee righteous before me in this generation. And thou shalt raise up seed, and thy children and thy children with thee in the midst of the earth. And Noah went and took a wife, and he chose Naamah, that was her name, Naamah, I guess, the daughter of Enoch, and she was 580 years old. That's what it says. She was 580 years old. And Noah was 498 years old when he took Naamah for his wife. And Naamah conceived and bare a son, and he called his name Japheth. She was 508, God knows, saying, The Most High has enlarged me in the earth. And she conceived again and bare a son. And Noah called his name Shem, saying, The Most High has made me a remnant to raise up seed in the midst of the earth. Genesis chapter 11, verse 26. Now, this is after the flood. What I just read was before the flood. Abraham's father, Terah, I'm thinking Terah, was 70 years old when Abraham was born. Genesis chapter 17, verse 17. Abraham was 100 years old, and Sarah was 90 years old when Isaac was conceived. I'm just saying, I personally don't believe menopause is a natural thing. I believe it to be a man thing, a demonic thing. That's all I'm going to say about that. It wasn't meant for us to die originally because of what Adam and Eve did. That is what brought death, when they went to that tree of knowledge of good and evil and learned that knowledge. That's what brought curses and the curse of death. And man was created on the 6th day. the Most High created everything that mankind will ever need to sustain his life without having any illnesses, any doctor appointments, any prescriptions to pick up before we were created. So all of this running out of stuff and we need to downsize the world, it's a lie. We were supposed to live forever, and he says to be fruitful, not to add, definitely not to subtract. He says to multiply. 2 parents, 4 children or more. You're supposed to multiply. So that means there's enough space and enough resources. And I'm going to say this real quick. Before the flood, the water was around the earth, not in the middle. I mean, there were rivers and lakes, but the ocean was not like it is now. The world looked totally different. But the majority of the world is covered up with water. These fake preachers and false teachers are not teaching that before. So there was a lot of land on the earth before the flood, before disobedience. Remember, COVID-19. Remember what they did to the people 60 years old or older in Korea who were not able to work. They gave them shots, vaccine, and lied and said it's for your health. It was free shots too. They didn't have to pay for them. And they were ordered to take them. Does that sound familiar? Did everyone proudly get your so-called vaccine shots? Okay. And if you noticed, probably haven't, if you noticed, ever since COVID, there are a lot of life insurance policy commercials. And a lot of these life insurance policy commercials, they have a lot of black people in them, African American people in them, Israelite people in them. So if you want to sell a product, you have to relate to the demographic. It's called marketing. You have to relate to the people you're trying to sell this product to. Buy those policies, insurance companies get rich, and not only the insurance companies get rich, but the funeral homes are getting rich. Big money in death. It's big money in death. We have all of this so-called advanced technology in the sciences, medicines, etc. Everybody's super smart. But yet, there are more people now being diagnosed with cancer more than any other time in the history of this world. It's in the stuff that we're eating. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 15 and 19. 15. See, I have set before you today life and good, death and evil, and that I command you today to love the Most High your God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments, his statutes, and his judgments. His commandments and statutes, that means keep his laws. Joshua said he didn't come to to kill them, to destroy them, or to get rid of them, or to change them. He came to have them to be fulfilled, that you may live and multiply, not subtract, not downsize. And the Most High your God will bless you in the land which you go to possess. 19. I call heaven and earth as witnesses today against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both you and your descendants may live. Jeremiah chapter 21 verse 8. Now you shall say to this people, thus says the Most High, behold, I set before you the way of life and the way of death. Matthew chapter 7 verse 13 and 14. Enter by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction. Many people are going to be on that road to destruction. That's why the gate is wide and the road is broad, because it needs to hold a lot of people who are not serving the Most High. The majority of the people who were ever born, who have ever lived and are living now, the majority of the people will not make it to the kingdom of heaven. Scripture says most people are going to hell because he says the world is wicked. So the majority of the people are wicked. Enter by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction. And there are many who go in by it, because narrow is the gate, and difficult is the way which leads to life. And there are a few who find it. It told you, and there are few who find it. So that means the majority of the people who has ever lived are not going to heaven. Psalms chapter 1, verse 1 and 2. Blessed is the man and woman who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law, is in the scriptures, in the word of the Most High. And in the Most High's law, in the Most High's word, he and she meditates day and night. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Hit the thumbs up if it was cool with you, if you enjoyed it, if you liked it, if you believe in it. Hit the subscribe button if you feel like you want to, or if you know you want to learn a little bit more, or know a little bit more, or hear a little bit more. Maybe you already know all these things. You just probably like what I'm talking about and want to pass it on. Do that. Much respect to you all. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you. Peace out.